If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to help me out with the production of more content for this channel, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, link in the description down below. Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord here with another episode of SeetherCast for today. It has been 45 years since the last episode of this series because I haven't found anyone yet, or I'm really terrible with scheduling for making collabs like this. But we have a guest right here. Say your name.
Hi, I'm Ragehound.
Ragehound?
Yes.
But yes. She is a ASMR YouTuber, furry YouTuber. and she makes videos pertaining to the furry community, where she talks about common issues, wearing fursuits, EDM, a bunch of that great jazz hands. But now that I gave the typical introduction for you, you can go and just take it away and explain yourself.
So hey, I'm Ragehound. I do videos on the internet in dog costume all the time, and a lot of what I cover is basic furry stuff like how to do dance competitions, how to get a fursuit, but I also do some helpful videos like how to build a resume, and occasionally I tiptoe into more difficult topics like con safety after dark and politics, which tends to piss people off. But yeah, that's mostly what I do.
Woo! Politics.
Nobody wants to talk about it ever.
Yes. What really got you to kick off yourself with being on YouTube, having a pretty decent following on YouTube, pretty successful? What got you to that point, would you feel?
Oddly, I actually started making videos because I can't really suit in New York. There's mask law, so I got this beautiful suit a long time ago, Helly, that's a gorgeous little skull dog. And I tried wearing her out 2 times. Unfortunately, I did get punched in the face, so the hinge on that is still broken. But I decided after I, lost my job, I wanted to do something to make me happy. So while I was trying to get a new job, I kicked off the channel, and initially that channel was actually used for light show art and performance and gloving and concert footage. And it was really just where I dumped stuff that I had. There were some pretty cringy makeup tutorials that I never ever put live because they were bad. But once I had the fursuits and I had some free time to myself, I decided, well, I can't really suit outside, so let's just make some fun content for the heck of it. And people liked it, so I kept going. And then when my channel started to grow, I actually started putting more effort into editing and audio because I realized more than 2 people were watching. So I've just been kind of building off of it, and I started like everyone else with like my 5 favorite YouTubers, my 5 favorite furries in video games, my 3 favorite suit makers, like whatever. But since then, I've actually tried to push myself to expand to have more original content for myself, because if I've got that many people invested in what I'm doing, I kind of owe it to them to put out better content. So I'd say pursuing that has definitely helped me grow a little bit.
Good. And it's best that you didn't stick to the top 5 series kind of thing or so, or you eventually would get to like top 5 facts about Majira's strawberry sex life.
Lordy. I would never do a video like that, though. Majira's a good boy. But I got to a point where I was running out of things like that, and I then would see other YouTubers do the exact same video, and that's boring. I don't think the community needs 52 different like top 5 furry YouTubers. It isn't necessary at some point unless you're adding your own unique flavor to it, which I couldn't. I already did that video, and someone's like, do your next top 5. I'm like, I'm gonna run out of YouTubers if I do that. That's boring. So I decided to go completely off the bandwagon, and for a while I was doing drama downloads on things that happen in the community, in my perspective, on issues that I thought were not really getting good arguments or facts in many cases, and just laying it all out on the table and being like, this is what we can see, this is what we know happened, these are the allegations, here's my take on it. And for a bit those did pretty well, but since we are drama prone individuals, I guess a lot of people didn't like it necessarily because they felt like I was inciting drama, when really all I wanted to do was to get people to stop screaming at each other on Twitter and actually debate correctly, because a lot of what we'd see is just like, terrible person. Yeah, they're a terrible person. Oh no, screw you. And it's like, no, guys, I just want you to lay out facts like they're a terrible person because reason 1, 2, and 3. Here's the evidence I have to support reason 1, 2, and 3, and here is my final argument. And no one does that in our community, except for maybe Catholics. So I gave up on that one real quick.
I see. And you made me think about, saying that you didn't want to just stick to the same old shtick you would have with making the top 5 videos or making the same kind of furry videos over and over. But with me, I would say, like, when I was getting, like, traction and was really getting, like, on the go and, like, being more consistent with uploading, my method was, instead of just constantly making furry videos, I tried to, even though still make furry videos, like, half the time I would spend, like, another 30 or 40% of the time making non-furry stuff, because I would feel that, like, just talking about furries over and over again would eventually just, like, run dry, and also just feeling like maybe there's not that much else left to talk about with furries. Maybe, like, eventually you're gonna run out of stuff to talk about.
Sometimes, yes, if you just go at furry topics head on, but something that I've also pushed myself to do is find topics that have some bearing either on my real life, not in a fursuit, and what I do for work, or my experiences I've had, as a slightly older YouTuber, and, having gone through college and gotten a job and done all that stuff. So one of the things I also tried to think of is, all right, well, my audience is pretty young. I have a lot of like 13 to 17 or 18 to 24-year-olds. And of those, a lot of them are probably in high school, college, about to graduate college. So what is something that, maybe they're not actively seeking that they would be more open to hearing if it came from a cute, pink, fluffy dog? So I did a few of those. So I did do resume building, how to handle an interview for a potential job. I did great fields of study for potential fursuit makers, and those actually did not as well as some of my other videos, but I at least feel like I put something out there that has some value to users who are younger. Like, if you are about to graduate and you really don't have access to a good career center, or you really don't have anyone close to you that has gone through that because a lot of your friends are young, maybe one of those will help you out at least a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta think of the children. Think of the children, Ragehound. Think of the children.
True, and also think of context. Because if you're about to go into a certain field and you have skills that you've gained from being a furry, such as art or sewing or costume construction, there could be a job for you that you're not actively thinking about. So even taking into account what skills you already have and may not be aware of, and then applying that, also super helpful.
That's cool. Now that we got that out of the way of the general idea of you, what you represent in your videos, representing the community, where you feel like your video style has developed over time, I know that you said that there were some like more recent issues or things you had seen in the fandom that you wanted to address here that has been on your mind. If you wanted to delve into those, if you're up for it. Are you up for the challenge, Rage?
I am.
Up for it?
I am up for it. I might piss some people off, but heck, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I am very ready.
Then go.
So, recently, another YouTuber that I love and respect, Artemis, came out with the Cult of Popufurity, which I think was a really well done video, and I'm not mad at it. To preface very heavily with, I'm not mad at it. I think it was well done. Great video. However, I do think some of the reactions that people may potentially have to that video could be very problematic if you didn't watch it very closely, or if you weren't really listening to what he was necessarily saying. So in his video, he talks about, Popufurs, how Popufurs impact the YouTube community, and how some people have started to see Popufurs more so than people as brands or idols, or, their own cult. I think he actually did kind of compare it to cult behavior of everyone following one person blindly. And while I definitely have seen some of that in the way that some of the big YouTubers are idolized, I do think it's very important to take a step back and remember that a lot of these people who start these channels at some level are trying to recoup some of the money that they've spent into making these videos back so they can continue to make it. So slamming furries for trying to collab with bigger furries, or, you know, accusing people of riding the coattails of their friends' success can be very dangerous to assume, because a lot of these YouTubers, before any of them ever had a camera, were friends. So just because Majira has a couple 100,000 followers, maybe some of his friends have only 5,000, 10, maybe 200, I don't think it's necessarily fair to go and say that the reason that they're collabing with these bigger YouTubers is to get big or get good. I think it's more or less that in some cases they're just friends and they came up with a really dope video idea and they wanted to collab on it. That's how most of my collabs work. None of them that I've posted. So most of the time people have this assumption of, you know, oh, they're only collabing to get bigger. And in some cases, that's not the case. I mean, a lot of the videos I've seen come from at least Majira's channel. It does seem like a lot of his collabs are genuinely friends, like good friends that he has, that they probably had a great idea and put it out there. I'm not going to lie, there are definitely some people that do try to do that. I've had many requests to do collab videos where the person has very explicitly said, well, you're a big channel and I want to get bigger. And I've denied a lot of them because I don't want to be associated with like everyone's stepping stone, or, you know, someone needs to leapfrog over me to make themselves bigger. I want to make a video with someone because it's something we both think will be a great, awesome end product, not I want to make you bigger. That's silly. I mean, yeah, I do want to see some other YouTubers succeed and get bigger because I think they should already be big, but that's a different kind of approach to it.
Yeah, and I do feel like a lot of the people that maybe like go to you or go to me or go to anyone who has like some form of relevancy who has to do a collab. I'm not saying that I've seen a bunch of people who've gone to me for that. Like, I feel like most of the people who have asked me to do a collab don't do it with that intention of getting big.
No.
But I feel like a lot of the times when you see people who asked to do like a collab because of the sole purpose of getting more subs, even though they technically are a furry YouTuber too, or make furry style content, they don't make like similar content as well. Like, they don't make like content similar to like you're a commentary channel. Let's say you get someone who likes to do like gameplay stuff, like only do that. Like, I had one time a guy who came up to me and would be like, hey, I want to do a collab with you really badly. And I'm like, okay, what kind of content do you make? And I'm like, well, I like to live stream Left 4 Dead on my PlayStation 4. And I'm like,
not a match.
Yeah, like, that's, our content's completely different, dude. Like, yeah, there's gameplay, but like you don't really like, and I've watched a few of his live streams too, and I'm just like, the person didn't really like talk or anything like that. You know, there was like, what can I do if like, I just don't know how to work with that. Like,
yeah, my opinion is collabs should always be transformative. I mean, if someone brings something to the table that can really benefit what you're already trying to do, then that's great. Like, I have collabs planned for Hanzo, I think someday Nos, and I have another one with Chris, because a big interest I have is music. I sing, so I really want to sing more and put out more music. The problem is I don't have any production skills. I can't really put together a song farther than the vocals. I can't do instruments. I can't do some of that like studio level editing, and realistically I don't have the time to learn it. So if someone wants to collab to put together something beautiful like a song or a music video, yeah, that's a fit, because that's an interest I have, as opposed to someone who wants to, you know, do a video stream of us both playing GTA 5. I don't have GTA 5. I don't see myself, well, I do because someone kindly sent it to me, but I don't see myself going out of my way to do like a stream of GTA 5. I'm not Corey Coyote. I am not the right fit for that. Corey is the right fit for that. So asking me to do something that probably wouldn't make any sense on my channel, I'm not going to do it. If you do want to bring together like two channels that probably don't work together for a comedic effect, that would be cool. Like, I could see myself doing something with a YouTuber who is known to be more spicy, more conservative, and doing a comedic video kind of playing off of our totally different ideology. That could be very interesting. That would offer something constructive to both sides, and it would probably bring our channels closer together and maybe have them think a little bit more. But on average, I don't collab if it doesn't make sense. And I think more people need to think about that when they ask for collabs, Because if it doesn't really make sense, if you can't think of anything you're comfortable talking about, why are you doing it? Just to get big? Don't bother. Pick someone who has a much better fit for your channel style, your personal beliefs, and the stuff you really want to talk about.
And that's why I feel like to the people who ask about collabs or collab, like, look at us. Like, we kind of make very similar content. Hell, our personas' colors are pretty much inverted if you look at them closely.
That is true. We're not so dissimilar, you and I.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yes, pink dog takeover. Haha. Not actually.
Furry theory.
I wish.
But anyway, so that pretty much addresses that issue with the whole popularity of furry YouTubers or other furries. But if I could add to that, I would say that does apply to furry YouTubers, but do you feel like that also maybe applies to like other furries that get popular for other reasons, be it like furry artists or furry fursuit makers or fursuiters in general that got popular because of their fursuit? Because there was one story I heard from somebody who's gone to a lot of cons about how like I'm not going to say who it is, but there was this one fursuiter who was very popular. He made tons of money, but he was just popular because of his fursuit, and he had like this entourage of people that looked like him, like physically outside of the fursuit looked like him a lot, and they would just like, I think something about how he like paid them to like follow him around, and they acted kind of like a weird like group thing, like be like, oof, we are one, we are a group, we are together.
Oh Lord. I mean, I will say there's definitely popularity among fursuit makers. I haven't seen it with artists. I really wish it would be more so with artists, because there's some artists out there that just don't get the time of day that really should, that make amazing art. Like I have a badge here that the lady charged me like $30. She should have charged me $100, to be very honest. I'll probably have to tip her at some point. But with some of those fursuit makers, I do think you tend to see that, and it really depends on where those fursuits are worn and who wears them. So I don't think, and this will be controversial opinion, I don't think some of the suit makers that we find to be the most popular would not have gotten there if some of their suits were not fursuit dancers, if some of their fursuits were not furry YouTubers, and if some of their fursuits were not known for other things. Like if you have a very skilled dancer that goes to a lot of cons, gets recorded a lot, and you know, has been seen more, your brand will probably get a bump from it. I will say there's probably a good reason that Autumn Fallings is so expensive. It's because they're really well made. But also, it's because they're really well made, and a lot of people have taken note of how well they're made because their suits appear a lot. Same with Made for You, same with Made for Less. I think having YouTubers like Pokari sporting some of those suits, and having YouTubers like Majira and Mischief Makers, I won't say that's the sole reason that Mischief Makers is so popular, but what I'm saying is it probably doesn't hurt to have very well-known YouTubers, either through other merits of their own, wear those suits, because you're essentially promoting that brand, even if you don't think you're promoting that brand. I have suits from Kandarin and Barking Mad who aren't as well known, but I have definitely gotten more people asking me where my suit came from. And I don't think if I was a YouTuber, there would be that many people asking, frankly. And then when I got my new suit, I've already getting questions of who made it, where did you get it, how much was it? And I don't think that would be a question I would be getting asked if I wasn't a YouTuber.
I see. Yeah, I have personally felt a little bad over the fact that when I started gaining traction on my YouTube channel, I feel like I kind of did a little disservice to my fursuit maker, because I rarely use my fursuit in my videos anymore these days. And my fursuit, if you guys still are curious, because I have some people ask from time to time, my fursuit is made by Blue Wolf Studio all the way in Costa Rica.
Oh wow, long trip.
Yeah, I got it back when they were very, very cheap. Now they go for like $700-800. I got it back when they were going at $300 for a partial, and I was one of their first commissioners, which $300.
That's it. Ooh.
That was back when they first started. Like their prices went up like right after I got my suit.
How do they live?
They charge more for their full bodies.
Oh, okay.
So.
I was like, geesh, how do they eat? But I will say, like, there's definitely some fursuit makers out there that don't get traction, and I want to say 90% of the reason is because that they don't have notable people wearing them, and that's no fault of their own. You can't control who commissions you, and I would say doing free suits for popular people is a really bad, stupid idea. Don't do it. But I will say another negative that happens is if you are a suit maker and accidents happen, maybe you're newer, maybe you had to rush a suit from extenuating circumstances. When that happens and you are servicing a bigger YouTuber, that can also blow up in your face, because if there are noticeable issues, if there are seams that maybe could have used another stitch over, the repercussion, if you have enough big people wearing your suits, is enormous. And
Don't hug cacti.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The actually funny thing, Don't Hug Cacti was the first
Don't Hug
like
Cacti,
fursuit maker.
though. That's what kills me. I love their suits. It's so
They're
adorable.
They're so cute. It's just that like the moment like you put it on, you take one step, it's just all gonna fall into pieces.
I wouldn't say that. But I would say
know,
if Don't
I was
Hug Cacti
exaggerating.
were to accidentally make one mistake, their clientele are so known now that if there's any murmur of a seam popping or a stitch coming loose, that stinks. Like I've seen it with Mars, because Mars makes really interesting suits. They're in upstate New York, and they may not be notable on YouTube, and they may not be that notable in some of the more mainstream ways that we think now, but they are pretty well known on Instagram for their art and their suits. But oh, they had quite a rough patch when a bunch of their suits had some issues for whatever reason. I don't know the exact reasons, but their average suit quality is pretty darn good, and their prices are pretty low considering the final look you get. But the absolute onslaught of negativity from people like going up to suits made by them at cons to see if there is anything wrong, that's just, it's messed up. You should not be going and picking apart someone's suit so you can write a nasty Yelp review on Instagram later. But I saw it like a lot happening because one person with a big enough megaphone had a negative experience, and it started the ball rolling to a whole host of younger people bashing someone because, oh heavens, a stitch came loose. When, yeah, that happens a lot. I've had that happen on some of my suits just from me being an idiot. And I've been really nice about it. I've been like, hey, stitch came loose, don't want to send it to you. Can you just show me how to stitch this? And most of my makers have been pretty nice about it. And they're like, okay, yeah, stuff happens. But as soon as you have a major suit have a major error, and you have a big person behind it or someone with a loud enough voice, you have the opposite effect of then your suits become known for being cheap, low quality, or bad, when it may have just been a freak accident. Maybe they had to rush your suit because, you know, you really needed it by that certain date, or maybe you just gave them so much hell in the commission process that they just rushed it because they just wanted to get it done because you were driving them crazy, which I definitely drove Cupcakes Maker crazy, so I take full ownership of that. But that also can impact it.
Would you say that Don't Hug Cacti is still doing like okay as a business? Or I haven't really kept up with them in the past past year or so.
I don't know them personally. I haven't seen many of their new suits. I saw their new like minty koi wolf looking doggo at FWA, and it looks pretty nice in person. I obviously didn't go with a microscope and pick it apart, but their work still looks good. I just think the issue is once you have enough big people wearing a certain brand, the demand for that brand gets astronomical, and it becomes very, very hard for some of the more like tried and trues, the Made For, like I don't think Made For You is having any issue whatsoever, but that's a different reason. But some of these other makers that, you know, have in the past been known to be like the suit maker you go to, it makes it really hard for them to, you know, kind of keep the traction going, because suddenly you have a whole bunch of people just flocking to a new maker because something new and exciting is happening, and oh my gosh, this big YouTuber that I'm in love with now wears that suit. Yep, it definitely has an impact. I mean, I would not be shocked if, say, a Majira got a new suit from a different maker, if that wouldn't cause a high demand for that new maker. I don't think he would, but if he did get a Majira 3.0, I would be willing to bet you would have another Autumn Falling situation of that suit maker just getting flooded. Like it's no secret to why a lot of people demand to have Eno make their Dutch Angel dragons. Telephone. Telephone is super popular. And even though I believe Telephone's head was made by Phoenix Nest, people still look at Eno as like the mother of angel dragons. So, if you want an angel dragon, a lot of people go to the mother for that because that is their expertise. And they created the species so it's going to be executed exactly species correct in the way you probably want it. So that definitely has an effect. I mean, I have to wonder how many suit makers got big because Cyber just keeps getting Cybers.
I see.
Have you ever seen Cyber, the Cyber Army? Cyber Coyote has like a zillion different Cybers. And I have to imagine that Cyber has probably rocketed a bunch of fursuit makers just on the sheer fact that there are so many versions of Cyber running around cons.
Wow.
I think there's now a made-for-you Cyber running around too. Potentially.
Wow.
There's a lot of Cybers. So the more big people
Posers.
buy, they all belong to Cyber. Oh. They basically suit up all their friends in different Cybers and they run around. And it's pretty cool, actually, that one person is putting that much money back into the community. But it's also unnerving when you see like 50 of the same character running at you. But yeah, definitely has a bit of an effect.
I got you. So with that out of the way of, talking about the issue with the popular furries or Popufurs and then fursuits in general with in mixing them both together with exposure and issues with just commissioning fursuits in general, is there any other major stuff you notice within the furry fandom that just represents kind of issues? Because I know you do commentate a lot about a lot of the in the scope kind of issues with furries in general these days.
Yes, I think one of the issues that I do see a lot of is a lot of quick reactions, like shoot from the hip reactions from different people. I mean, just look at Spocter Theory. Some videos were made, some allegations were made, and I would like to say that on Twitter, the immediate reactions were instantaneously negative, and people pretty much taking word for word what was said. Not a lot of analysis. That's something I would make a drama download on, but I don't do it anymore because I don't actually think it benefits anyone, because the last few times I've done it, I found that people don't actually watch my video carefully. They just go, oh, Ragehound did a drama download. It must be true. It's like, no, please watch the video and see that I did not say it was true. I said, here's what I think. But people making quick shoot from the hip assumptions can really damage people. And what I used to do is I used to actually dig up evidence. I would look through court dockets. I'd look through publicly available records. I'd be like, hey guys, that's great that you think this happened, but I've actually looked and the incident you're referencing has no merit to it because it didn't happen and it's not on court record and it's not here. And everything you've just alleged to be true, I can't find evidence for. So it's an allegation. It's not a state of fact. Sorry to shit on your parade, but that is not a certifiable fact, so please stop presenting it as such. With that, a lot of people presenting stuff as fact when, in fact, there wasn't that much validity to it, and I think that whole situation is pretty unfortunate, and some of the repercussions are pretty visible now with some of the dislikes flooding into those videos, which is unfortunate.
Another case which I feel like actually came up, I don't know if it was earlier this year, so I think it was springtime, we're at the end of spring, but earlier this spring. And I know I don't want to bring up this guy because I have subtle make fun of satirical at this one person, but I swear to God, Genesius Wolf's video about Majora Strawberry being a Mursuiter. Have you seen that video?
Yeah. I have a strong opinion on people who out others for what they enjoy.
And I'm just I left a comment just simply saying who cares, dude? And I don't even know if that was true or not to confirm. I don't even want to go into that, but just especially even seeing popular people making assumptions about other popular people, because you can't deny Genesius Wolf's got some traction online.
I mean,
Decent fan base.
If there's any left, I guess, yeah. He's made some dumb videos lately, that's all I'll say. But my opinion on Mursuiters is I do not use my suits for that. So you guys can go ahead and dig and try to go into my private life. I don't suit like that. But that being said, I think people who Mursuit are perfectly valid in their enjoyment of Mursuiting and using their suits for that purpose. Now, I do think it is extremely problematic to go on a witch hunt to figure out which suits are after dark and which are not. I think it's a huge breach of privacy. I understand that some people have this thought in their mind that people wear their dirty Mursuits to meetups. I can tell you, as someone who knows a bunch of Mursuiters, that is not the case. If anything, if their Mursuit is dirty, they clean it, or they have 2 bodysuits. So, fact-checked for all of you. And whether Majira Mursuits or not is no one's goddamn business. Who cares? He is allowed to enjoy himself in whatever way he wishes, and prying into his private life so you can out him as a Mursuiter is stupid, and it's disrespectful, and it's very childish. And I don't know, because Majira and I are friends, and that's not something that friends really talk about. And I don't know, nor do I care what he does in his free time. And he does not know, nor does he care what I do in my free time. And that's how it should stay. You wouldn't go up to your friend and go, "Ooh, you're into bondage," just to make them feel like shit. Like, that's messed up. I mean, our fandom has so much more problematic sexual deviancy issues that Mursuiting is really the least of our issues. It's the most vanilla of the things that we get into, if we're being very honest here. If anything, I would feel more conflicted if someone with that kind of scope was a pedophile or, had engaged in illegal activities or was doing sexual grooming or was doing harmful things to animals, which, by the way, Majira isn't, in case you're wondering. He's a good boy. He doesn't do that shit. But I think some of the things we've seen with, like, Zausch and, like, other artists getting outed for that kind of thing because their art kind of gives you an inclination, that, to me, deserves a much closer eye. So rather than attacking Majira and trying to go after him because woogie boogie 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 Mursuiter, what we should be doing is taking a closer analysis as some of the other people who have pull in our community, not YouTubers, people who are on con staff, people who have a much bigger say in, like, what happens at conventions and have more pull than clout. So I think we should be much more mindful of, is there someone who is known to have some illegal activities on their record being invited as a guest of honor for a con? That should be something that is more carefully thought of and looked into. Or is someone potentially a white nationalist? Should we be allowing them at the con? Do we think this is a smart idea? Should we be more closely analyzing that? That, to me, deserves a closer eye than which one of your suits has a zipper. Because, let's be real, a lot of them have zippers, and a lot of them are polite, clean, mature individuals where you don't even know that they have zippers. And they're not going to zip it in front of you and wiggle their junk in your face. So just let them have their fun after dark in their hotel rooms and leave them the hell alone. They're being safe and they're being responsible.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it.
I see. And it would go to, like, another feeling I feel like why that he made that video on him. I guess it was just like kind of like a Viewgate kind of thing. Like, did it for views maybe. I don't know. I feel like, if you put Majira Strawberry in, like, a video title, I do feel like it will incline you to get more views than you would usually be used to if you're, like, a channel of average or small size.
Yeah, if I made a video called Majira Stole My Wallet and it's just a video of me, like, asleep in my fursuit, that would get more views than most of my other content. Am I going to do that? No. Because that's stupid. But I guess if you're trying to get views quick and you don't really care about the repercussions to your channel, sure, try to out me as a Mursuiter. Go for it. You have my full permission. Go ahead and try it. It won't work, and it'll piss off most of your fan base.
Or just put a picture of a fursuiter in the thumbnail.
That also sometimes works. I don't tend to do it because lazy and also don't feel like it. But, I mean, that's probably why Rices has video on Pokari. Big Australian YouTuber. If you're an Australian YouTuber trying to get traction, put another bigger Australian YouTuber in there. That works. That's real effective.
Wonky. Steve Irwin is a furry?
Yeah, basically.
But I think we pretty much wrapped it up. Is there any last topic you want to quickly discuss or so?
I think that's kind of like the biggest complaints like I have, or the biggest gripes I have, at least the community, is people feeling like they have to out other people, put other people under them to succeed. Don't do that. If you're starting YouTube, please don't start your first video as like, this YouTuber is shit, let me tell you why. Critique series. There's much more effective ways to get your channel out there, and if you have a unique perspective that you don't see in another video, do that. I am pretty confident I am the only YouTuber to date who has done Facebook ads, which are boring as heck. But you know what? That's what I know. That's what I do. So I made a video. Do that.
Okay.
Do stuff that's relevant to you or you find personally interesting. And if your opinion is spicy, just be prepared to defend it with facts, which means if you're going to cite sources, make sure they are valid sources. And then if you do all that, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, that pretty much is all. Is there any social media you would like to plug, or any personal business ventures, or any drug cartels you want to add in here?
Ooh, I got some good cartel. I'm kidding. So I can be found
it's
at
the Russian mafia.
I'm sorry. I can be found on basically every social media that exists as Ragehound, except for Steam. If you want to play with me, you're going to have to just politely ask. I do have a Discord. It's invite only. If you would like to join, you have to just send me a DM, because we had some issues. So now it's a little bit more secretive because people are jerks. But I also recently just got fan club shirts of both Helly and Cupcake. So if you would like any of those, they come in men's, women's, hoodie, tank, and children's sizes. If you have a kid that really likes Smysona, they can wear it on the shirt. And if you follow Glove Furs, which is my initiative to get more furries doing light arts, both for therapy, fun, team building, I have shirts for those also available on Artwork Tee. That's all of them. And I have a Patreon.
All right.
Right, Patreon. Also of that. Forget to plug it. Yes, that too. Okay, now I've done everything.
Are you sure you want to plug your YouTube or Twitter or Instagram?
Oh, all of my social media is Ragehound. So
I'll link it all down below.
It's easy.
So yeah, so pretty much all the basic stuff, as well as Patreon, Discord. What was it, Etsy, or what was it, Glove?
Glove Furs has a Telegram group, and there is a Twitter for it. I have not tweeted on it in a while because I got busy. But if you look for hashtag Glove Furs, you'll see a lot of content from one of our 70 members. I had to check our Telegram group. We have 70 members now that actively pursue flow arts such as hooping, gloving, poise spinning, and light staff. And if you want to learn how to do it, we have 70 people that are pretty darn good at it and would love to teach you how to get into it. So feel free to ping me if you want to join that channel. And yeah, get a shirt if you want to.
Yes. Cool. And also remember to follow Ragehound on MySpace. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't have that. Sadly, that one died with the 90s.
I see. But yep, that's it. Check out Ragehound everywhere. Also, if you want to follow me as well for equal or lower quality content, check out me on YouTube here, my gaming channel SeetherCord Games. Get my Twitter at SeetherCord. Instagram's pretty much dead at this point. Remember to also donate to my Patreon, hit that like button, turn on that notification bell because YouTube requires a second subscribe button because they're idiots, and also subscribe all together to me and Ragehound. So
Yay.
We are done today. I've been SeetherCord. You have been
Ragehound.
our hound.
Ragehound.
Yeah. Yes. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.